right, guys, welcome to episode 4 of Tales from the Head with Coop and your other host.
Danny, yes, that's me.
There we go. We do a little roll call in the morning, We got our morning roll call done, get all this stuff out of our system.
Gotta make sure we're all awake and fully here.
We're experiencing a pretty intense heat wave. This will probably be a week after the heat wave, or it'll be during the tail of the end of the heat wave, which is supposed to continue for a week to 2 weeks.
I feel like this is funny you say that because I feel like this heat wave is like a COVID. It's like a symbolism for COVID. They're like, oh, it's just gonna be like 2 days, and they're like, okay, well maybe a week, and I was like, maybe it's gonna be
Oh,
2 weeks now, and then there's gonna be power outage, and then here have some unexpected thunderstorms with no rain, just cause.
well, we actually had rain over here. It was
Oh
crazy.
yeah.
It was because what happened at like 3 or 4 in the morning, right?
Yeah, around that
And
time.
then, so I woke up because my son woke up, and I was like,
Mhm.
okay, I'm gonna go in there, tuck him back in. He was fine, but he was asleep during all that shit. Because I'm like, that would have made sense why he would have been woken up for that, but nope.
No,
So
something else.
I hear all this shit going on, and I'm just tired. So I'm just kind of like, oh, cool, thunder, and I just kind of lulled back to sleep because it doesn't really fuck with me. Like, it
Yeah.
sounds scary, but I'm like, I'm good. So, but I was like, dude, it was loud. I was like, dude, that is some cool ass thunder. Like, if I wasn't exhausted right now, um, oh no, it was around 5:30 because I went to bed at 3. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, because there was a loud one like around 6 in the
Yeah,
morning,
yeah, yeah.
and it shook me and woke me up. I'm like,
Because it
oh,
was like
that's
2
right.
hours of that, right?
Yeah, it was a good 2 or 3 hours because I remember like making my coffee, watching the morning news like at 9, and I was still here like thunder, and it's cool because I'm a fan of lightning and thunder. I actually on days that I'm kind of feeling stressed out, or days that I can't sleep, I play it either on my phone on my Alexa or something
Mm-hmm.
to just to play those kind of sounds. Hold on, now my Alexa's gonna say something over here in the background. Hold on. Nope, she disappeared. Good, good.
Hi, Danny.
So, were you talking about me again? No, but
I can
I
add
like
this to
to
your cart.
now playing. Um, but I listen to it, so it kind of relaxes me, and it was cool, like pitch black, and you just see like the flash of light, and then you hear the thunder, and you're like, "Ooh, that was close." So
Yeah,
yeah,
dude,
it's fun.
timing it
I like
out.
it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of like a little camping exercise, and I'm the same way. I don't get spooked by it. I enjoy it, because it's so. And maybe it's just because I'm such a dorky like metalhead. But
Mm-hmm.
anything that's so bassy and trippy, and it sounds cool. Like I like Harley Davidsons. I like loud cars.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
like when I hear thunder, I'm like, damn, that shit is fucking loud, and it's just cool
Yeah.
to me. But and it is relaxing too, like the rain, the thunder, the rolling thunder. It's like, dude,
Mm-hmm.
it's like super
Yeah.
peaceful.
For me, it's so relaxing and what I notice also, it helps you, like when you have it just playing in the background to go to sleep or to relax.
Hmm.
I play like a game to see if I can spot, or I'm paying attention to it so I can hear when you actually hear like the lightning or you hear like the thunder. So
Yeah,
in the form, it's a way of meditation also. So
right.
and this is great. I like it. It relaxes me. I'm one of those people, if I could, I'll be like in the porch or something, or in my backyard with a cup of coffee, watching just watching the rain and hearing the thunder.
Oh,
Um
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's my thing. And it's funny because our friend Daryl, he actually texts me super early in the morning. He texts me like at 6 or 7 in the morning, and he goes, "So damn, Danny, why can't I imagine you like drinking your coffee, watching the rain, listen to thunder, and like drinking your coffee and just taking the drag really slow on like some marble menthols or something." And
Menthols.
I'm just like, because that used to be me, bro. But I quit smoking.
You're like, I
But that
didn't
used to
smoke
be me, bro.
Marlboros. I smoked Cools. No, I'm
Oh,
kidding.
me,
I
dude.
didn't
Crush
smoke
were my favorites, dude.
Camel Crush,
Yeah.
where they put the little Listerine bubbles in them.
And you'll crack it, and you're like, ooh,
Little
it's like a Super Saiyan cigarette.
get a little mint boost.
Yeah, and you know what? I think and I knew I was addicted to cigarettes because there's times where like the everything's perfect and I'm just like, man, I really want to have a cigarette.
Mm-hmm.
But then I remember how it tastes like and how it grosses me out now.
Yeah.
So I fantasize about doing it, but I don't do it because I know how actually like I want, it's a waste of money. Like I'm not gonna go spend $10 for like to take two drags on the cigarette and then like throw away the whole case.
Right. Yeah. I mean, or you could buy cheap. No, I don't know.
Yeah,
No, I know. It's not. That's not the point.
yeah, it's not.
You're
It's not
trying
as
to
good.
like get off of it.
If I'm
I'm like trying to
if
help
I'm
you
gonna fall
stay
back,
on it.
yeah, if I'm gonna go back to the addiction, I'm gonna go full on. You're gonna get the primetime one.
Like some H, some black tar,
Oh yeah,
Colombian,
some of that blue magic.
some of that white lightning. I don't know. I don't know if that's what it's
Uh,
called.
Whatever Johnny Depp was bringing in the movie below. I want
Yeah,
that. But
or
in
Tom
cigarette form.
Cruise in that American Made movie, right?
Yeah, that was a good
That's
one.
similar.
I was also thinking Denzel Washington in American Gangster.
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
really good movie. I actually really like that movie with Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
I think that movie's kind of underrated.
With the Reza is also in it, I
The
believe.
RZA, Common,
Oh yeah, Common's in it too.
Idris
It's a good
Elba's in
movie.
it.
Yeah, it's a good movie. I also
It's a
like
good cast.
Blow was a pretty good one. American Gangster was good. I still haven't seen like the cartel ones or anything like that on Netflix.
I still haven't watched Narcos, and I've started it,
That's the one I
and I
mean.
haven't, and everyone's on it, and I'm like, fuck, I need to watch it, but I just haven't. I'm just like, there's so many things for me to try and
Yeah.
check out.
You know which series I haven't seen, and I maybe not the only one, but very small percentage. I've
Hmm.
never seen Breaking Bad.
I've actually seen it all the way through.
And my friends were like recommending like, oh, you'll love it, you love The Wire, this is just like The Wire but probably even better.
I don't
And I
know if it's
was
like The
and
Wire.
but like as
I mean,
far as like
drug
production
related.
was, yeah, drug related,
I
but
don't.
like
I don't think. I don't
production-wise
know
and
about production either, though. I think The Wire is a little more fast paced. Breaking
the
Bad
what I
had its
love.
moments, but like
Uh-huh.
The Wire was like HBO. I mean, I don't know, dude. I don't know
Yeah,
if you
The
can
Wire
compare
was good.
AMC to HBO.
But I definitely I'm like, well, I didn't want to get into it because I didn't want to like go back and watch it. And we grew up punk, so if you tell me to go check out something because it's cool, I'm not gonna do it because it's cool. Unfortunately, that's just the way I
Yeah,
roll. That's
you
the
gotta
way
get.
I
You
am.
gotta. It's gotta be on your terms.
Exactly. So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna wait once the series is over. Well, I'll wait once it's all available on Netflix. And it's been available on Netflix for like 10 years,
And
and I
that's
still
two
haven't.
available.
Yeah, and I still haven't gone
Yeah,
and
because you're
seen
like,
it.
it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, but I've seen like The Office hundreds of times.
Yeah.
So
Well, now,
I
okay,
don't
so
know.
that's a cool segue. So The
Yeah.
Office probably a feel good. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a little game. There's no prizes, so it's like real life. We do it for sport,
You
and
survive.
yeah, this is called bettering yourself. And if that's not a prize enough, then you can leave. Um,
Yeah.
um, so we're gonna do happy and sad with Danny and Coop, and
Woo woo.
but we're starting with sad because we're gonna break you down and then build you back up. That's how this whole thing works.
Yeah.
Got to start
can't
from
rebuild-
zero.
You can't rebuild what's not broken.
Yeah, no, we can't build you up and then chip at you. You got to start negative to zero and then go up.
Just like my bank account.
Yeah, overdraft, then you get some credit. Then you get a little bit back in the system, and then you're still fucked because you overdraft again next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the bank knows you're gonna do it, and they're counting on it.
Oh, yeah, they're like $28. Stupid. Here you go. Do it again.
Pendejo.
Come on, charge it.
Please, we need it.
We'll make
Our
all this
executive-
interest off you, like Scrooge McDuck.
Exactly.
I'm going to have Danny start with the sad one.
Mm.
I think you're good.
So-
Let's carry it on.
All right. So, a movie that made me sad, and I actually enjoy watching it, even though I know it's gonna make me sad. I narrowed it down to one of the classics from the '80s called "The Never-Ending Story." And I know it's not meant it's a fantasy or anything like that. Growing up watching it, the scene, and if anybody's seen this movie, you know what scene I'm talking about, when Atreyu, not the metal band, but the main character, is walking through the swamp of sadness or the swamp of depression, and you need to keep on pushing and not allow the sadness consumes you. Because if you allow the sadness to consume you, you're gonna be consumed by sadness and you will die. And of course, I'm like fucking 5 watching this. I have no idea how deep that metaphor is.
Mhm.
But he's walking, and his horse, who I cannot remember the name of the horse off the top of my head, he gets consumed by sadness, and he dies. And Atreyu's like crying, like begging him to please, be strong, to keep on pushing. And it fades away with Atreyu basically crying. And I remember like just crying on that scene, like being sad. I'm like, dude, this guy lost his horse. Like that's like his pet.
Yeah.
Somebody he dies or somebody he loves. And I recently saw it again in December. It was up on, I think it was on the Amazon Prime, or it was on Netflix. It's available on Netflix right now again. And I was seeing it and just watching the whole movie. The whole movie is actually super depressing.
Yeah.
Like the kid is going through like his mom passed away, so he's all fucked up in the head. He's still trying, and his dad, and this is also something that kind of ties into this podcast. Like the dad's like, "Oh, you need to be a man now." The kid's like 7. Like, you need to be a man. You need to, do this and do that, and kind of
Mhm.
like grow up and let it,
Right.
just. And the kid's like, he gets a hold of this book and he starts, he starts going, and I'm not gonna describe the whole movie, but seeing that and seeing the connection, and it's just like the swamp of sadness or the swamp of depression, and not letting that sadness consume you because it will kill you. Like, I'm like, dude, that's a good metaphor for like life. And if
Yeah.
like, and I'm pretty sure whoever wrote it meant it to do it like, okay, let's show these kids, let's teach kids the importance of life and death, and how you cannot let death consume you, because you will, you have a greater cost, you have a greater avenger, and it needs to continue. You can see that now. Of course, I didn't notice that when I was like 5. My parents never fucking read to me. I just saw everything in the movies. But now that I'm older and I see that, I'm like, wow, that's super deep. And
Yeah.
and for that movie, I pick it. It's still, I mean, I'm not crying at the end of that movie. I'm not crying when the horse dies or anything, but I do get sad. I'm like, dude, because I remember when I first saw it, and it makes me sad. And
Yeah.
it's not a
Bring
sad movie, but it's a good movie.
brings you back to the sadness.
Absolutely to that swamp. And that goddamn movie was just amazing. Great soundtrack, also
The
great
swamp.
theme song.
Who did the music? Do you remember?
I can't pronounce it. I can't pronounce his name. Obviously he's from the 80s, but his name, he also sang that one song that goes, "You're too shy, hush hush, my oh
Oh,
my."
I know. Hold
You're
on.
too,
Yeah, I know that song.
yeah. It's the same singer. And it's funny because until recently I looked them up, and I'm like, yeah, that's exactly how I would expect them to look. Like how he looks in that music video for the Never Ending Story song. That's exactly how I expected the person look like.
Because did
Um,
this movie come around the same time as Labyrinth?
oh,
Because
that's a movie
his
I've
name's
never.
Limahl,
Yeah,
Limahl.
it's like some German name or Swiss name or something. But yeah, and you know what? That movie with David Bowie, that's actually a movie I've never seen either.
Let's see if it'll work. You've never seen The Labyrinth?
I've never seen it, bro.
That's kind of crazy to me.
I know, and
No, it's not
and
bad, but
people might hate me for this, but I've also never seen The Princess Bride.
that's kind of You know what though? I can't hate on you because I've never seen it all the way through, and we own
Really?
it, and Steph has seen it and like swears by it too.
I've never seen it, and people find it interesting because it's like, dude, you're all into like fantasy movies and 80 movies and stuff like that. Like, how come you haven't seen it? I'm like, I don't know. I never got around seeing it when I was younger, and now that people are putting pressure on me, I'm not going to see it because of my whole punk rock mentality.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna play some of the song. I think we got it here. Can
Yeah, go for it.
you hear it, Danny?
Oh yeah, I hear it.
Oh, yeah, so we're just gonna walk you through that swamp. That sad little swamp, baby.
Look at what you see.
Your mom's gone and you gotta just pull on, baby. There's a brighter future for you.
It's great song.
You just gotta look deep down inside yourself and lift yourself up from that swamp, baby.
Funny thing about that song, as we're hearing in the background, is made famous again because of Stranger Things.
Oh yeah, okay. So they brought it back.
They brought it back in the newest season. But I remember on a couple episodes back, we are talking about going to our concerts, and I tell you, one of my first real concerts was at Slim's.
Yeah.
And this pop punk band called Newfound Glory was playing there.
Yeah.
And I didn't know Newfound Glory yet. I only knew like their one song, but they were just barely coming up. They were just up and coming, about to break, be huge.
Right.
And they were promoting their cover albums where they were playing nothing but theme songs.
Yeah.
So they started playing the Never Ending Story, and I remember like middle of the mosh, people are fucking like jumping on top of me and stage diving, and hearing that hearing that song, the Never Ending Story theme song, and I'm like, oh, I know that song. Okay, now a song I can finally like sing along to because I know this song from my childhood.
You just see Danny in the pit go, Atreyu!
I'm over here in the pit going, Never Ending Story.
And people were like, wrong show, it's Newfound Glory. And you're all, shut up, stupid. You don't get the preference.
You don't get the reference, homie. I will see you in the pit for Atreyu and fight invisible ninjas in the pit.
And that's what happens.
That's exactly what happened.
Got to fight the Ninjalinos.
But now, Coop, let's go and switch it up. What is one movie that cheers you up whenever you're feeling down?
So I got a little bag. I got a man purse of selections of that really is like 3. And the reason I'm not going to go with my main one is because I've touched on it on my podcast. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go with my number 2, which is Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Another movie. I only seen parts and pieces of it, but I've never seen the whole thing.
So, also a movie that if you're not familiar with the View Askew universe, which is the Kevin Smith movies, it's not going to be as funny because it is kind of a fanboy parody of his stuff. So, if you've seen Clerks, if you've seen Mallrats, if you've seen a couple others like Dogma and stuff, you'll probably be all right. But since I'm already a Kevin Smith nerd, it's like movie is pure parody. There's so many comedians in it, so many famous actors. You got Mark Hamill playing the villain as Cockknocker. I mean, I don't know what the fuck else you want. Mark Hamill not only was Luke Skywalker, but he was the voice of the Joker on the Batman animated series.
That's true.
I mean, dude. So, I mean, you got George Carlin in the movie, you got Carrie Fisher. I mean, it's just like every nerd from the last 40 years / comedian, you got Chris Rock, it's just crazy. To me, it's in the similar realm as like a Blues Brothers because although they're not the same movie, it's similar in the sense that they involved everyone famous. Like Blues Brothers had, not to go off on a tangent, but Blues Brothers had a bunch of famous people like that were blues and funk inspired, like James Brown, Aretha Franklin, Ray Charles. So it's really cool, and like that's kind of what the vibe I got from Jay and Silent Bob. It was like our generation's Blues Brothers, kind of like and it was just really, it's kind of a feel good movie. You're never gonna put that movie on and be like, oh yeah, this is depressing. I mean, you got so many dumb references from Good Will Hunting. It's not even a Kevin Smith movie, so that's the funny thing too. They were doing parodies of just movies that actors were in. You had like Chris Rock talking about Pootie Tang and House Party, and it was just stupid shit. It was hilarious.
And I think that's what makes it. That's what's even better because it's like there's like a meme whenever like they bring it up. You're like, oh, I know that reference.
Yeah.
Like the parts I've seen that's been like when Mark they chop off his hand.
Oh yeah, and he looks at the camera
and he goes, "Not again."
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's a Star Wars reference.
Exactly.
Oh. Yeah. So, I do love that scene. I have seen the scene also where, they tell him to put like romantic music, and they put like I don't know, Cannibal Corpse, or they put like
Oh yeah,
no
yeah,
pill,
yeah.
and they start like moshing, and I'm like, yes, yes,
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking
Well,
about.
that's the thing. Kevin Smith's always been cool with like dope music. I mean, his soundtracks are always
Hmm.
super good, and he either has like he'll have like Smashing Pumpkins and King Diamond on his soundtrack. It's kind of crazy, but
Nice.
um, another guy that's kind of dynamically out there with music. But I think a scene for me in that movie that always cracked me up was the scene with them and Brody, who's the character from Mallrats, who's the comic book nerd and all that stuff.
Hmm.
And they're doing that
Okay.
song. And it's kind of hard to redo, but it's like super funny. It's like,
Yeah.
wah, 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 wah. Like, I don't know. It's so bad to do right now because everyone, whoever's watching this who haven't seen it, like, this is terrible because you're not
Yeah.
really referencing anything. But it's hard to reference if you haven't seen the other movies. Like,
Yeah.
so a good
Yeah.
example. So, okay, I'll do one. So, a good example is Good Will Hunting. There's that iconic scene in Good Will Hunting where Matt Damon's the poor kid from Boston, and he's trying to go out with what's her name, the British chick. Anyway, so all these Harvard guys are like, you can't get her number. You're like you lower scum, trash, white trash, whatever. So then, they were talking about like apples or something, and then he goes, "Hey, you like apples?" He's all, "Cause check out these apples. Here's their
Yeah.
number." And he throws the number on the window and he walks out, and all those guys were like giving him shit the whole time. So anyway, It was funny because they're in the movie in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. They're in a recording lot and they're filming Good Will Hunting 2 hunting season. And it's literally about Matt Damon and Ben Affleck just shooting people with shotguns and has nothing to do with the first movie. So there's a funny part because they even get the same actors from the Good Will Hunting movie in the bar scene to reenact this whole dumb scene. And Ben Affleck's all, he's just like, he's saying his lines from Good Will Hunting, but in a stupid, dorky like tone, like,
Hmm.
"Do you like apples?" And they'll like stare at the screen. So he's basically clowning on Good Will Hunting. It's pretty hilarious.
No, and I think it is. I always like those. It's kind of like as we were talking about, it reminded me of like Foo Fighter music videos.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
the Foo
Like
Fighters
Learning
have
to
some of the
Fly
best
and
music videos, and the reason for it is because they don't take themselves serious. So they'll dress
yeah,
up in rags, they'll dress up in however for the sake of the video, and I think that's what makes um like their music more genuine, or like their music video that much funny, because they're not like, oh, we're not gonna hire actors, we're gonna make ourselves be fools, because we just that's how we roll. And I feel like that's like Matt Damon a lot, especially with his ongoing fake beef that he has with what's his name, he from the Tonight Show or live, Jimmy
oh,
Kimmel.
Jimmy
There you go.
Kimmel. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, but they're buddies. Yeah,
yeah. So those are, I always find those funny because they're buddies and they're just like making fun of each other.
yeah. It's like wrestling, like pro wrestling. You're like, oh yeah, they're cool, but they hate each other on camera.
Yeah, and pro wrestling is just amazing, man. Pro wrestling, man, with the Stone Cold era.
Oh yeah, Attitude Era. There's
Oh
nothing
yeah,
better. Like,
hands down.
I know. Okay, well, cool. Another thing, I was gonna go more on that, but I'm kind of glad. I think we milked that teat. So that's cool. Let's go into that because we'll go into sad stuff, or we'll go back. We'll double back, but right now let's do a little segue into wrestling. So I was recently watching Best Destructive Stone Cold Entrances of all time, and dude, that's how cool the Attitude Era was. Like, Ric Flair's era was like the era where they incorporated the chairs and all that shit, and it's kind of progressed into more of a violent, wild, guerrilla fighting situation where it wasn't really the same traditional wrestling, because it got boring even then. So they spiced it up. Then they had the promos. They were the era of promos, like Ric Flair, Piper's Pit, all those guys, right? And then you get into fucking our era, which is like the Attitude Era, where it was all about like the backstage drama, like the crazy shit going on outside the arena. Like, I mean, people that don't like wrestling, I get it, but at the same time, like, this era of wrestling was so fucking entertaining because it was like right when reality TV was like booming. you had these really big, larger than life characters that luckily were, in my opinion, were decent actors, because I think Stone Cold was. I know some people think all the stuff they say is super corny, but dude, I don't know. I still to this day, maybe I'm biased, but like Stone Cold, The Rock,
Yeah.
like all these guys trash talk super good. And then you had weird off characters like Val Venus that had these like creepy intros of him being a perv.
Yeah.
I mean,
And like all these sexual innuendos of him.
you
Like,
couldn't even get away with that shit anymore, and just the
no.
violence, the sheer violence and blood. And then just that one part too where Stone Cold drives the fucking beer truck and to the stage, hits the stage. All these dudes are on it. He's squirting The Rock, Stephanie, Vince McMahon, and Shane McMahon, all with this giant beer hose. Like, you see the place go crazy. Like, the first 4 rows of the audience are getting sprayed with beer. They're losing their shit. You see the signs and all their hands going in the air.
Yeah.
Because Stone Cold, then he jumps over and spears McMahon and then stuns someone else. Dude, it's just like, dude, it's so crazy and over the top.
My favorite Stone Cold memory is they cut this promo and you have Booker T
in
the grocery store.
Yeah.
And then Stone Cold comes and just beats his ass all over the grocery store. And it's funny because like there's a scene where Stone Cold's like beating him with like a piece of salami.
Yeah.
And Booker T's like, oh, no more. More. And I'm like,
he's like begging him.
Does it really hurt you by you getting hit by that stick of salami?
He's like,
I think he hits. Yeah, and I think he hits him with like some crackers, and I'm like, come on, bro, that doesn't even hurt. But there's just milk in it, and it's just like,
well, dude. And then there's one part during that where he's singing fucking Dean Martin. Stone Cold's got his raspy ass voice. He's all, when the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, and then he's like smacking him in the face with a DiGiorno.
Yeah.
It's like, dude,
no, and it's like, I don't know how those fools were not like cracking like.
Oh, dude, from laughing? Yeah, dude, I don't know how that's even possible, especially when especially that episode or that one where Stone Cold was dressed like a nurse, like Bugs Bunny style, and then he surprised Vince McMahon when he was in the hospital and just started beating him up. But dude, it's just like whoever wrote that was someone who's into comedy, like, because it's so fucking funny and stupid.
Like, I don't understand some of the stuff that like The Rock used to say. Like, oh, how are you doing? It doesn't matter. Like, I'll be cracking.
Yeah, when he just interrupts people.
So funny. Mm-hmm. And just like him clowning on the city and all this stuff, and
calling people Rudy Poos.
Improvised.
Yeah,
a lot of that stuff was improvised. So it's not surprising that these ex-wrestlers went on to become like successful actors, like The Rock did. And like, Stone Cold did with his, he had a couple of movies, but now he has like a bunch of TV shows and stuff like that.
Yeah, and he's got that Broken Skull Ranch.
Yeah.
He sells all the merch. Yeah,
his podcast is pretty entertaining.
Yeah, I love him. He's a cool guy. Yeah. Never met him, but he seems like a cool guy.
I would love to meet him. I would love to meet that guy. Have like a beer or two with them.
Yeah, I agree. I think you gotta at least drink a few. And if he offers you something, you got to drink it.
Oh, yeah. You can't say no to him.
No.
What? Imagine that. Who wants to be known as the guy? Unless, like we talked about, unless you're straight edge and you don't drink or whatever.
Even
then. Cool. Enjoy some water or, sit down, enjoy cold beverage.
Have a fucking Zima. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Have no duels.
Yeah, don't be a bitch. Come on.
Yeah, have no duels or have some water on the rocks.
You'll get another coin next month. You know what I mean? Just start over.
Start over.
Just start over.
It's okay.
This episode, I'm the devil on your shoulder.
Yeah, just everybody's expecting you to screw up. Might as well screw it up.
I mean, we are both wearing opposing gang colors, so I don't know. I don't know how this episode's gonna finish.
I don't know how gangster I am though, because mine has a Mickey Mouse, so I'm not sure how gangster it is.
I don't know, dude. You're Team YG and I'm Team Nipsey right now, and it's getting kind of hot in here.
And we're not talking about the temperature either.
I mean, we can go shirts and skins, but I don't know whether that'll help our ratings or not.
I'm pretty sure it won't.
YouTube tagged us inappropriate.
Yeah, no.
No pectorals.
We'll tell
Love
the production team
handles.
to work on it. No,
Your
stretch marks
your
and all that
love
shit.
handles are depressing the YouTube community. Your whole point and purpose is now being questioned based on the fact that you showed yourself topless.
It's it goes against our guidelines here.
Yeah, and moral guidelines especially. I mean, if we clearly have no pride, look at us.
No, we don't. We don't. That's we don't take ourselves that serious, as you can tell.
And speaking of no pride, let's go back into our movies. What we got? We got our happy-go-lucky selection for Mr. Danny here.
So, films. I got 2 films that cheer me up. And they're movies that legit I will quote and I love it. And I can still say the same jokes and I still love them. And I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, this was going to say Star Wars or Back to the Future or The Wizard of Oz. But no. Dumb and Dumber.
I was when you said a movie you could quote a lot, that popped in my head.
Really?
It did.
It's just Dumb and Dumber.
It's on my list.
It's such ridiculous movie and such great quotes and such great situations. It's just, oh god, when Lloyd Christmas tells Mary Swanson how he feels, and he goes, because to show him like him prepping for it, and then when he finally sees her, he goes, I desperately want to make love to a school kid or something.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that.
And then he goes, just give it to me straight, Mary. What's the chance of a guy like you to go out with a girl like me? And she's like, not good. It's like 1 in 100. No, more like 1 in a million.
So there's a chance.
There's a chance.
Yeah.
Oh, such a freaking great movie. It's just that whole movie is so dumb. You can't redo that movie now.
You can't. And remember that scene where the guy, they owed him money, and he cuts the fucking parakeet's head off?
Oh, yeah.
Like to send a message, like it's
man?
Godfather?
Yeah.
But it's like, who the fuck thinks to like cut a bird's head off? It was one of the funniest. That was always, even when I was a kid, and when you were a kid and you didn't always watch the movies, but you heard other kids talking about it at school?
Yeah.
That was always a movie kids talked about. But kids will always talk about the bird with the head when I was going to school, and it was before I saw the movie. So like I always knew that joke, and it always was funny because I don't know. I mean, maybe we're all a bunch of sadistic assholes, but a bird's head duct taped back on is hilarious.
And then you sell it to a blind kid, and then the blind kid is petting it, going, "Pretty bird."
It is one of the funniest scenes in that movie.
It's just so
the fact that they sold the bird dead is just so fucking funny to me. And that's why but see, that's the funny thing. That's the only reason they taped its head back on, was so they could sell it.
Yeah.
And that to me is the funniest thing in the world.
To a blind kid, because the blind kid doesn't know any better. And then
so yeah.
Petey, how do you say he didn't have a head? Lloyd, I fixed. Oh, not Lloyd. Harry, I fixed it.
Yeah, taking care of it. And then he was like, our pets' heads are falling off.
Our pets. So, yeah. So,
Polly want a cracker. Polly want an autopsy.
Oh,
fucking.
It's a sign. We killed one of his birds to kill one of ours. It's a sign. No, it's just great. I think that movie is such a great movie, and I remember like we can still see it. Like the whole house will be there. Even my dad will see it, and we were still laughing at Harry freaking ripping ass, and then the toilet doesn't work. Like,
oh yeah.
That's just a fucking iconic scene, dude. But yeah, that movie always cheers me up. I'm happy just talking about it right now. But
yeah, it's a good movie.
And then Tommy Boy is another movie that will slap on, and it cracks me up, and I quote it, and it's just such a great movie. And it's kind of depressing now because like I saw it when Chris Farley was still alive.
Yeah.
But I couldn't really appreciate it. And now that I'm older and I see Chris Farley, I'm like, man, like there's that potential in him. But then he goes, like, I see it, and I'm just I admire his freaking jokes and his timing and his like, just that movie is just so great, man. Like,
dude, I mean, he's one of the greats. He's
a fat guy in a little every time I put on something and that doesn't fit, because I'm not sure if you haven't noticed, but I'm pretty big myself. I'm a pretty husky guy. Every time I put on something that doesn't fit, I start singing that song, "The Fat Guy in the
Little
Little
coat.
Coat."
Yeah.
Fat guy. It's just such
Wait,
fucking
so
amazing movie,
Tommy
and I'm
Boy is
so
the one where his dad runs the factory, right?
the brake factory, the
Yeah.
how yeah. I make American car parts for the American working man because that's who I am and that's who I care about. You know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Such a great movie.
Because I always
But
mix
yeah,
that up with Black Sheep.
I love Black Sheep too, and it's a great movie, but it's kind of continuation of Tommy Boy,
Yeah, no,
more
yeah,
slapstick.
yeah.
But I mean, don't get me wrong, Black Sheep has some great quotes also, and it has some great scenes, and it's still a great movie. But if I was to put Tommy Boy and and Black Sheep, Tommy Boy takes it.
Tommy Boy takes it.
And then I feel like Beverly Hills Ninja got
Ooh,
so much not enough love.
I agree with
That's a great movie
That
also.
is a funny movie. Because Chris Rock's in that one, right?
Yeah, and he starts saying about the legend of the Black Ninja, and he claims he's the Black Ninja.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great
That
one.
movie's good. He gets in
Yeah,
like the fight with, and he breaks all that china in that one antique shop.
yeah, yeah. Chris Farley was a great guy. I mean, I never met him, but from what I heard from interviews, he was a
I
great
would have done
guy.
cocaine with him.
I
You
think I was
know?
too young. I don't think.
I don't,
You know what? I
well,
don't think I would. I don't think I would because I feel like he parties too much. Obviously,
but it was like that whole thing with Stone Cold. I mean, are you not gonna bust a rail with Chris Farley on a Hungry Man TV dinner box? These are all really important questions that we need to figure out.
I think like one, yeah, like a little bump, sure.
Just a little bump ski
I'll take a little
right
like
off the top,
a little muscle relaxer
just
here,
just just to get the conversation going.
Yeah,
Not
but
enough to start business planning.
am I gonna do Scarface Mountains of Powder and
Well,
dive fed face first? No, I probably don't want to be in that
not
situation.
without a price, Danny, because someone
No,
had to pay for all that. And let me tell you,
and
nothing in this world is free.
and someone's gonna pay for that,
Someone's dancing naked for that cocaine.
and from what I learned from movies is that that little magic powder is super expensive, and I don't have that kind of money.
I mean, I heard that's what Valcor used to eat before he went on those long flights.
That's that's exactly what it was. That's why he's still living that fantasy land. He's still high up there.
I mean, that's why he was white.
Yeah, and the
Cocaine's not
dragon?
even white.
No,
Pure cocaine is more of a cream
yellow
tan color.
kind of. Yeah.
I mean, we doctored this stuff up and put all this baby laxatives in it. By the way, this
So
is
it's
not
pure
a
Hollywood.
podcast condoning cocaine. I'm just really
No,
sarcastic.
no, no. But there's really good documentaries about it and movies about it, which we kind of started this episode about, anyways.
Yeah, and if you want to hear something really funny, go to an NA meeting. No, I'm kidding. Don't. Yeah.
No, but going back, I think those two movies are the ones that always cheer me up. I can always see it, and even if they're just in the background, I still love them. And I know them so well that I know exactly what's going to happen. I can say like the next line and everything, and it's just like you cannot be pissed off or sad while watching Dumb and Dumber, and you cannot be pissed
No.
off and sad while watching Tommy Boy because they're just so great movies.
Yeah, and to just add to another one to this, why not? Because we're it's another
Why
one,
not?
and it's a Fairley Brothers movie, so it's kind of fitting in with Dumb and Dumber.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about Mary.
Yes,
That's kind of
You
a
know
feel good
what?
movie. Super
That one,
dumb premise. A lot of funny scenes.
great quotes also.
Really good
on that movie.
quotes. Chris Elliott's a
Um,
fucking animal in that movie.
I will match your Something About Mary, and I will race you Kingpin, another Fairly Brothers
Ooh,
movie.
another Fairley one. And you know what?
And that was
I Kingpin was better. I'll give you that.
and I was thinking about it earlier because every time I hear thunder, I would say, "Oh, the gods must be going bowling."
Yeah, wasn't that what
kinda
Jebediah or whatever his name would say?
yeah. What's
Is that his name? It was
Yeah, it was like
Randy
Jebediah.
Quaid.
Yeah, it's it was the Quay brother who also comes out in Independence Day.
Yeah, I'm back.
I'm back. And then great use of Goldfinger Superman in that song also.
Oh yeah,
So here I am thinking, yeah,
doing
great
everything
movie.
I can.
Freaking laugh when they make it to Reno and they're gonna play, and Roy Munson tries to re-enlist himself to bowl, and they going through his fees. They're like, all right, so let's see, with the fees plus interest, it looks like you'll have to pay $26. And they're like, like that's how broke they are. They don't even like they can't even afford $26. Or they're interviewing him, and he goes, "So tell me, Roy, what have you been doing the last 17 years?" He's like, "Drinking, a lot of drinking." Yeah, and then the reporter goes, "Are you still drinking?" No. Why? You're buying? it's just
Well,
who
and Bill
cares?
Murray is totally the antagonist in that movie, and
Oh,
he's so good because he's pretty much. And spoiler alert. And if you haven't seen this movie,
if
you
all these
deserve to
movies
go
are like
walk
over
into
10 years.
traffic.
These whole movies are like over 10, 20 years
Yeah,
ago.
fuck your
shame on you.
statute of spoiling limitations is passed. So
Yeah, shame on you for not seeing these movies.
Bill Murray is single-handedly responsible for Roy Munson and his handicap. How do you like that for a spoiler?
He's single-handedly, quote unquote, no pun intended, responsible for the fall and the rise, the fall, and the re-rising of Roy Munson.
I mean, you could argue in some ways that, we're looking at a biblical kind of story here where Roy Munson might be the chosen one and Bill Murray clearly is the serpent.
What's his character's name? Bernie McCracken. Big Earn.
Oh, yeah.
Bernie McCracken. But,
dude,
man, that's just a great freaking movie. I always love seeing that movie. So freaking dumb. And yeah, dude, Bill Murray on that whole movie is just amazing.
Remember when he's talking?
Because,
Oh, I'm sorry. Was I saying that out loud? He's like giving a commentary when he's trying to bowl.
He goes, "Hey, do you mind? Do you mind?"
That's really the sweat must be getting to him and the pressure's on. And then he's like, "Dude, do you mind?" He's like, "Oh, was I saying that out loud?"
I'm sorry. And then when he puts his hand back to actually bowl, and he goes, "Good luck."
Yeah,
dude. Asshole.
And dude, you know what? Another
movie.
reason why that movie was cool to me was I used to do, everyone did like PAL sports. Like I played football. I did PAL bowling, dude.
Yeah.
So like I was one of the alley cats, No, I'm kidding.
Another great movie also.
Disney movie. Alley Cat Strike. I was
with the famous Jet Jackson.
Oh yeah. R.I.P. He killed himself.
Yeah, he passed away. He killed himself.
What a segue. Right back to sadness, which reminds me.
Yeah,
that's where we need to finish. And
let's hear it, Coop.
Let's go into the darkness of our souls. Stepping into the deep, and I'm not going into the swamp of sadness on this one, but I am going to the galaxy of gloom. Because this is Guardians of the Galaxy. And really good series, really good movie, amazing soundtrack. Another reason why it's a tearjerker. And for me, it was really personal. And I know it's going to be like, what were you, Star-Lord? And, maybe it was in a way. Because it was really relatable for me.
Impression, by the way.
Huh?
I'm not sure if you're trying to sound like David Spade right there.
I don't know what I was trying to sound
Star-Lord.
like. Yeah, from fucking Emperor's New Groove. But the whole scene in the beginning where, your hero is going to get broken down into nothing. His mom is sick of cancer. And as a kid, she's starting to like die, and she's like, hold my hand. And he first of all, knowing that firsthand, but not knowing that firsthand, I wasn't able to see my mom pass before my eyes. But even as an adult, you hope what you would do. Right? You'd be like, oh, hold her hand. That's what she's asking you. And then you probably would. But, an 8 to 10-year-old child, that's a very frightening experience. And kids are. Kids, kids live in a very literal sense of things. They don't understand these bigger pictures with spiritualness
Yeah.
and stuff. They're
They're
very
honest.
right. They're
They're
honest,
honest. They're
and
honest.
and when they feel uncomfortable, they don't like doing things.
Mm-hmm.
That they shut down. So the kid in that scene where his mom's like, "Grab my hand, Peter." Grab my hand, and he's like, "No," and he runs out. So like the
Mm-hmm.
last thing she sees is her kid run away from her. The last thing he experiences is his mom dying and him not being there. And it's just one of the most heartbreaking scenes in a movie I've seen, And then
Yeah.
and then he gets abducted by aliens. He runs out and gets abducted by aliens. And it's just like, holy shit, if that didn't rescue him from a lifetime of meth. Like
Yeah.
Star-Lord would have been fucking Greyhound, cowboy, and he would have just been
Yeah.
like, smoking glass out by the exhaust. Like,
Maybe would have made a great episode of Intervention, though.
maybe if he got that far,
That's true.
that's tough. I mean, you're
Yeah.
going to go from boarding school to boarding school. By the way, it wouldn't make as nearly of an entertaining movie if he didn't get abducted
No,
by
absolutely
aliens.
not. Well, not very Disney of them.
It would have been kind of like, okay, cool. So what's he going to do? Right.
Yeah.
But, that really hit home with me. And then I saw the movie before all this stuff happened to me. But then just recently, Steph was rewatching it maybe a month or two ago. And we're playing it for our son because it's a good movie and it's got a lot of good music. And,
Yeah.
he likes Groot. But, like, I just rewatching it, I kind of like, I already put myself in the shoes of the characters when I watch movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it already got me crying when I watched it the first time in theaters. And then rewatching it, I was super teary-eyed because then it was more of a personal thing. It was like, it really, really, really was relatable. And, it wasn't easy. It's not an easy thing. And still, when I think about it, it's still very, very foreign.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a weird way to describe my feeling about that whole situation is distant. I still feel like I'm distant from finding a resolution.
Yeah.
Like, I'm calm. I'm much better than I was 10, 11 months ago, but I'm still sitting in that boat where I'm just like, am I dealing with this? I don't know. I feel like I'm doing better, but sometimes, you don't have time to deal with problems. Sometimes you're dealing with life.
Yeah.
And life's going to force you to put all this stuff on the back burner. And that's kind of what weighs you down and makes things harder. So, we all have our rough days. As much as we talk about all this happy stuff, which is an important part of this conversation, but it's like the hard stuff still hits, man. And,
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, no matter, you can always mentally prep for something, but once it actually happens, I think that's when it when it really hits and you don't know how to react or something. My dogs are going fucking crazy in the background.
no, it's okay.
Sorry. All right, they're gone. All right, good. Um, but yeah, like I remember maybe about 10 years ago, my grandma passed away.
Mm-hmm.
She passed away of leukemia, and knowing that she was going to pass away, we knew doctors like, okay, she's going to have a couple of months left. We of course went to tell my grandma. We don't want her to know she's going to pass away.
Mm-hmm.
But like, just knowing that someone's going to pass away and knowing that the time on this earth is very limited, like it's something different. And I remember like prepping and like, okay, this is probably the last time I'm going to see my grandma. And I remember not wanting to go and see my grandma because I did not want my last memory of her to be of her sick. I wanted to, remember her.
Yeah.
And she was supposed to come to San Jose. But she went to the doctors and she was waiting for like some tests back or some test results. And in that time period of waiting, she passed away. She lost her battle versus cancer. And and I always felt bad. I'm like, oh, my grandma was gonna come over. This was gonna be my last chance of me seeing her. And I mean, it wasn't like I didn't see her for like a couple years. I think prior to that, I saw her like maybe 4 or 5 months before she passed away.
That's still rough.
Um, but I remember like knowing that she was gonna die, or I shouldn't say that. Knowing that she was gonna pass away sucked.
Hmm.
But at the back of my head, I'm like, well, everybody reaches that. Everybody's gonna get to that point. But when it actually happened, and we got the telephone call, and my mom goes, "Hey, your grandma passed away." Like it still sucked. I was like, "Fuck that hurts."
Yeah.
Like nothing prep. Like you can prep yourself, but once it actually happened, I was like, "Damn, like that sucks." And I think you can prep it, and I think it's very important for us to not sugarcoat like life and death because this is real situations. And I think it's interesting that we both pick movies that makes us sad, and it kind of revolves or revokes around the idea of death and rebuilding yourself
Hmm.
from that experience. My
Right.
case, never ending story. Atreyu, horse dies. Atreyu almost gives up, but he ends up fighting. Keeps on fighting, and he's not even the fucking hero of the story.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. So like that's interesting. And for you, Guardians of the Galaxy, this character, he loses his mom to cancer, and if I remember, he's always like kind of beating himself up because he wishes he can go back to just touch her hand.
Yeah.
He wants to
Exactly.
change that, but he can't change that no more.
No.
And he kind of goes and he kind of struggles and he kind of goes on to redoes his life. He redoes it and becomes this greatness things. So it's funny that we both kind of pick not the same movie but very similar.
Yeah. Very similar premise.
Yeah. um and even in the funny movies, like
Yeah.
movies that with this very respectable actors that don't really take themselves so serious.
Hmm.
And they do, I mean, even Tommy Boy deals with the unexpected death of his dad,
Right.
and then he goes on and tries to like live up to these expectations, and he kind of realizes, well, I can only just be me, and I'm just going
Yeah.
to keep on being me.
Yeah.
um
That's the hard thing.
yeah. And I think it's that whole shock of once we lose somebody that we love, or once whatever we feel comfortable is no longer there, is how we react to it and how we grow and how we learn. That's what really shows character
Yeah.
in our lives. I think that's what you know I think what that's what the most important things, or one thing to take away from this episode, is life is going to beat you down, but rather being consumed or be dwelling on it, we have to pick ourselves up and we got to keep on continuing because our story is not over yet. How shitty would Guardians of the Galaxy would have been if the movie's only 5 minutes and then
Yeah.
Star Lord just it ends right there?
Right.
And how shitty would the never ending story would have been if Atreyu loses his horse and then the credits roll? I'm like, well, what the fuck? Like, that's
Yeah.
it?
These would
Like,
have been like French art films or something.
yeah, it would have
Fiend.
been like that fucking Red Balloon movie. Did you ever see that Red Balloon movie? I remember, I
No.
remember in high school, like each year saw this
Was that
movie
like a
about Red
fucking
Balloon.
one of those weird movies? What do they call them?
Abstract or something. It's one of those fucking artsy
Oh,
movies.
'cause first thing that popped in my head was Schindler's List, but that's not the same thing. I'm
No,
picturing the red
it
coat.
was like these short artsy movies that, abstract movies that
Is it part
mean
of the
something.
Criterion Collection thing or whatever it is?
Probably. I just
That
remember when I was in
weird.
high school, they showed me some like Red Balloon movie and then Run Lola Run. I'm not sure if you ever saw Run Lola Run,
Mm-mm.
but it's a shitty movie. Well, maybe no, it's not shitty. It's artsy and
Your cup of
it's not really
tea.
my style. No,
Yeah.
I mean they're good, they're interesting, but if Run Lola Run is on TBS, I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna keep on going.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, and the name didn't even grab me. I'm a
See?
cover guy.
Yeah,
I judge people and books by their covers, and it does bite you in the ass. Not with
yeah.
people so much as it bites you with books, but no, yeah, I gotta, I need to read more, but
Mhm.
I think reading is also another nice form of meditation. A lot of people
Yeah,
tell me that
absolutely.
too. You give your brain some work, and then you help your vocabulary out a little bit. So when someone wants to talk shit, you might have a few big words for them.
You drop a word or two, and then you let them know that you're not some dumb asshole.
Yeah, and that's the thing. A lead pipe can only do so much, but you know what does more? A sharp wit. Okay,
Oh yes.
and a sharp wit could get you out of legal trouble. Lead pipe's gonna get you into legal trouble. Okay?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
By the way, where'd you get the lead pipe? So there's that too. They're gonna be looking for it because no one has lead pipes anymore.
All the crackheads stole it to sell it for money.
Well, and lead is not even worth that much. They're going for the copper.
Yeah.
So
And
I don't know.
lead is bad now, actually.
I think what
Bad
you
for the
need to
environment.
do is just start beating people up with rubber sticks, because then you can just throw it into a trash can that's lit on fire. It'll melt. I mean, I'm not giving people ideas. I just think we need to be more creative.
Can it be a natural disintegrating?
Like a biodegradable?
Yeah, that's what I meant. I'm sorry.
No, it's
This
okay.
is why I should read some fucking books. Yeah, because if we get a rubber stick and you just burn it, all those gases and all that smoke is just going to create more. It's bad for the ozone layer, man.
It is bad for the ozone layer, but, in the words of Ice Cube, I'm not going to quote it now. No, but
No.
no, it's just, the Earth is going to be here when we're gone. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
The ozone layer is there to protect human life.
Mm-hmm.
And how important are we? I mean,
Hey, the Earth gave us the tools to survive. If we don't use those tools correctly, we deserve to die.
exactly.
And the Earth is gonna be like, "Hey, motherfuckers, I give you a chance. You guys fucked it up. See,
The
you
Earth
guys
is
in
like a
another 10
landlord that's
billion
just
years."
had enough. They're like,
Yeah.
look, you guys have been here a while. You pay rent, but sometimes you don't. You're really fucking the place up. I mean, we've made all these upgrades so you can just enjoy yourself and have your fucking fun with your nuclear weapons and your gas emission cars, and your big factories that burn bodies and shit. Enough's enough. We're going to send the tsunamis and the locusts next week. If you don't like that, we're sending the Jehovah Witnesses.
Yeah.
And everyone knows that's Deacon 4. Like, that's DEFCON 4.
That's stage
Once
4
the Jehovah's
already.
come and it's knock, 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 it's 9 time. Because no one is ready for the watchtower. No one.
And I think what's his name? Bob Dylan said it best. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven doors.
And you might not even get in. So there's that too. The line might be busy. The gate might be a little rusty. I mean, I'm a very glass half empty towards the end of this episode, and maybe it's because of the Guardians thing, but let me tell you something. Realism isn't always negative, but perception is what keeps us out of those pits that we dig ourselves in. And although I'm making these comments, it is out of humor because I do it to vent about how I feel. But at the same time, we need to be more like appreciative to what we have. And I think that's also what our heroes, to tie back into our themes, I think that's what our heroes had to do. They think, they got broken down so bad, but then they realized eventually, look, the greater good is that life goes on. And it's not that you're forgetting your past, it's that you're embracing your future. And eventually you're going to look back on this day and think, wow, it was really cool that I did this. You never look back on a moment, especially with death in a family. And you rarely look back and remember the death stuff. I mean, you remember the death stuff, but you don't remember like maybe the funeral planning, this and that. All that shit gets forgotten. The stuff that you remember are the moments that were making you happy, the moments that made you sad when they died, because you knew those moments were gone and never going to happen again. And the only thing you had was what you had already, So,
wow,
it's a rough it's a rough thing we have to deal with in life, but
You,
it's like you said, it's a cycle that's not going to end. And, one day we're going to be on the receiving end of it.
and it's funny. Just to wrap this up, so you say that because I just talked about my grandma passing away, leukemia, but I was talking about her last weekend to my friend's dad, you know, and we're drinking coffee, and I go, man, my grandma's used to love her coffee like black, and the water had to be like piping hot,
Mm-hmm.
like the shit just came off, boiling, and she's already sipping on it hot. Like she enjoyed it, and she enjoyed that like in the 100 degrees weather in Mexico.
Yeah.
And that's how she loved her coffee. And I'm like, mine needs to be a little bit warm, not so hot.
Yeah.
I prefer my iced coffee, and then let's put extra cream. So,
Put a heart with the
it,
cream, or I'm not drinking it.
can you make a little leave
Yeah, yeah.
with the cream, please? And it's funny, what you just said is just funny because, yeah, I remember when my grandma passed away. I remember what I was doing when I heard the news. I remember her funeral, but I still just remember her just chilling with her freaking smile, sipping this hot ass coffee. And I'm like, lady, it's fucking 100 degrees at 9 o'clock in the morning. Let's just have a Coke. But no, she was a coffee drinker, and that's
Yeah.
what always reminds me. So every time I have like super hot coffee, I'm like, oh, my fucking grandma will love this fucking coffee right now.
Dude.
So yeah, I hope she's enjoying her nice cup of Folgers up in heaven.
The best part of waking up. Yeah.
Is Folgers in your cup?
Yeah, and then my friends from high school did a song. It was the best part of waking up is Folgers in your butt.
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah. It sounds like a high school song.
It does. And they didn't make it big, but
I can't believe with a hit like that. Can't believe
they
it.
were huge in Belgium.
Yeah.
But no, so yeah. And there we go, taking something wholesome and truthful and just throwing a little salt on it at the end.
Because that's who we are.
That's what
and
we
you
do.
know what? If you cannot laugh at dumb shit, you're taking this life a little bit too serious.
Yeah, and healing's never going to start.
Mm-mm.
So
loosen up a little bit.
R.I.P. to all our moms out there, all our grandmas, all our aunties, all our sisters. Hey, everyone's going through something. Any family member, it's no easy loss. We're not alone. We're dealing with this together, guys.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to laugh about some of this stuff because it's never going to change. It's always going to be hard, but what gets easier is just knowing that we have things to do. And if they were alive, they'd be like, get off your fucking ass, do some work, smile, and enjoy what you got left, because they don't have that. And that's the way that's the mentality you got to have is take what you can get, respectfully, but, seize the day, man. Like, carpe diem that shit.
Yeah.
We got to live our best lives. And then, that's a corny rap song and shit, living your best life. But it's true, man. You gotta do your best thing. And if your best thing is racking up murders, maybe not. If your best thing is getting 7-10 splits in a bowling alley, maybe try that one.
Yeah.
Loading up a truck with manure, maybe not. Just like, fun. There's positives, negatives. Be smart.
My always thing is do whatever makes you happy, as long as it doesn't hurt yourself and others.
Yeah, I mean, that's always a good rule of thumb.
Yeah.
Words to Live by Danny Betancourt.
I'll send you my book once it comes out.
Charge by the minute, you'll make more money that way.
Oh, absolutely.
That's how the cam girls do it.
That's
you might even get tips.
Is that the only thing? Is that the same thing as the OnlyFans? You know what? That's another episode.
That's great content for another episode, actually. So, with that being said, episode 4 is being wrapped up. We will see you next time, and thanks for tuning in, guys. We got your back, and we hope you got ours. Hit that like and subscribe button.
And thank you guys for listening. We really do love and appreciate you guys, and we love the feedback. So make sure and reach out to us, because you're not alone. You never are.
You are not alone.